girl.
The father of a New Jersey 14-year-old girl who died by is demanding justice this morning. Adriana Cook was found dead in her home on February 3rd, just 2 days after a video was posted online showing her being beaten and attacked at Central Regional High in Bayville. There's a clip of it there. We're not showing it to you because, listen, it's just disturbing.
That's horrible.
This story is awful. Adriana's father believes her suicide was fueled by long-time bullying. CNN's Bryn Gingras has been following this story. So the 4 teenagers who allegedly jumped her in the hallway, they're facing criminal charges. The superintendent resigned.
Yeah.
Wow.
What more happened here?
If the superintendent resigned, it sounds like they didn't do enough to stop this situation. How horrible. Wow, she really got beat up. I'm looking at the pictures. This is horrible. Jesus.
Within a week. And as Jim said, we're not going to show you the video, but I do want to describe it to you so you get a better sense. And you guys, you know, as parents, it just makes you angry, honestly.
Yeah.
Basically, it shows this high school freshman walking down the hallways of her high school with her boyfriend. When 4 people approach them, they throw some sort of liquid at her and then basically take her to the ground and start beating her until school officials intervene and break up that fight. Now, the father of Adriana Cook says that the school then just sent her to the nurse, didn't call authorities. They did suspend those students, but that was it. And
they didn't call the authorities. She got, like, I'm looking at the bruises off screen. Like, they're pretty intense. She really got beat up. Wow, they're just beating on her. This is horrible. Kids are fucking crazy. Bro, high school and like middle school and stuff is so horrible.
Shingles.
Okay. Sorry, there's an ad for, I'm trying to watch the full video. Jesus.
he says he's the one who actually took her to the police department to file a police report. Then this video comes out of the
Did they call the father?
incidents. It's gone all over social media. He gives that to authorities. I want you to hear from him more about.
I wonder. I'm not gonna show it on screen, but I'm watching it off screen. And like it's so premeditated too. Like they're recording it so that they can go beat her up. Like this wasn't just something like an altercation that went too far. This was like they were going to go. They wanted to beat her up. Like, yeah, she's just like walking in the hall. They throw water at her. The boyfriend like pushes one of them back. He's trying to stop him. He should have just laid them the fuck out. At least I think that's what's happening. And they just start beating on her. It looks like they intervened pretty quickly. But then they put this on social media? Wow. Bro, if that was my kid that somebody did that to, I would, if my kid did that to somebody, I would beat them within an inch of their life. How horrible. Jesus, she took her own life. That's so sad, dude. Jesus.
How he describes the video, and then we'll talk more.
Bro, what were the comments like for them to take for her to like how embarrassing. Like this is like TikTok. Like this is the new age of TikTok. But they should expel those students and shoot them. I'm just kidding. Don't never do that, guys. That's terrible. But those students need to be expelled, and their parents should violently beat them. I don't really know what else to say. That's horrible. That's so terrible.
I think it's fun to attack people and make videos and post them. She blacks out, and they don't call an ambulance. They take her to the nurse's office. Adriana was the most happy, beautiful young lady in the world.
That's terrible.
Now, the school says that they did alert authorities. As I said, those students were suspended. They've also been charged. One
suspended?
is charged.
I feel like, I don't know. That's it? Just suspended?
With aggravated assault. But the point here, guys, is that this whole entire community is up in arms because they say this isn't a one-time incident. There is a culture of bullying. The school says now that the superintendent has resigned. They're going to go back.
There must be, like, in general, I feel like schools are terrible because kids don't have empathy. Kids are really inconsiderate pieces of shit in general. And so schools already, I think, just like baseline, you come with like an issue. You have a bunch of kids with a bunch of hormones, like their hormones are raging because they're growing up and they have no consideration for anybody around them. And then you have an incident like this, like you have to do something much more aggressive here. You have to expel all 4 of these students, you know? Like, you could, if you want, you could sit here and be like, well, I don't think that they wanted her to take her own life. You're probably right. But something like aggressive needs to happen. Expel all 3 students. Let them come back next year, maybe. But expel all 3 students so that they learn a lesson of like, yo, you fucked up really bad. And let the parents know too, because expelling those students hurts the parents because they have to go to work. Okay. And then their parents are going to hate their kids, but they should. And then maybe they'll raise their kids better. Because if your kid's going around beating other people up and recording it, you have raised a fucking failure of a child, and you're a failure of a parent. Okay, and you need to deal with that situation. Okay, you need to redeem yourself as a parent by disciplining your child. Okay,
and look at these, past allegations of bullying with other students. They're going to consult with the school district and the Department of Education and how they reform their policies. But it's horrific. I mean, this girl took her own life 2 days after this cyberbullying incident was posted online. We talk about the online hate and harassment that these teenagers have to go through all the time, and it's just horrific. 14 years old.
It's awful, and this poor family now mourning their daughter. And
this is why I always say that, like, people need to be careful about posting someone like their traumatic experiences on the internet, because there's something about putting something on the internet that's like very it'll immortalize. Again, it immortalizes what's happened to you, and it could potentially contribute more to like your trauma, because this girl got beat up and then they put it on social media, and like, how embarrassing for her. And it's not really embarrassing. Like, I think most of us look at that and go like, wow, those people who did that are pathetic. But for her, it's like, oh my God, I got beat up. And like, now everybody's seeing it, and there's probably people in the comment section making fun of her. I don't know where the core video is, but it was very clearly a TikTok that was like downloaded. Somebody downloaded it and then like, uploaded it for like the video for the website. But it was very clearly a TikTok. I just can't get to it's very clearly a TikTok. I just can't get to the original. Hopefully they've taken it down. But imagine that. And especially because you're probably seeing, like, if you post TikToks, you'll get people in proximity of you more likely, like more often. It's more likely that it'll happen than you think. And so I don't doubt that there are communities of these kids now with TikTok that they see each other's TikToks every single day, all the time. And those are the first, in fact, those are probably the only people caring enough to actually watch these TikToks are like the people in school. So it's like, oh, my TikTok got 1,000 views. It's just like the local students like looking at their TikToks and sharing it around. And so some people are like, this is funny. Such and such got beat up. Oh my God, LOL. Like, she deserves it. And like, people are talking about it in school. She can't live this incident down. This is now an incident that defines her entire fucking life. Or it really doesn't, but that's what you think. When you're in high school and middle school, you think that's your whole life. You think that everything that happens in school is like, that's it forever. It's not. The second you get out of high school, like, this shit starts to like bottom out. That's why you have people that are so cool in high school and they become losers when they get out, because they think that their whole life is high school. So like, you will inevitably live it down, but you don't realize that everything seems so insane, intense, and hyperbolic in these schools. And so like, there's no wonder that this young girl took her own life, and that's horrible. It's horrible. It's terrible.
Also having to deal with everything that led up to this. It
there's
just
no
leaves
words.
you at a loss for words. Yeah. Bryn, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, to that point, this morning a new study highlights that not enough young people are getting adequate mental health services.
That study finds nearly half of children who go to the ER with a mental health crisis do not receive the follow-up care that they need.
Well, follow-up care is most likely parental fault, or you could argue that it's like a problem with not having the ability to afford mental health like services because it's very expensive. You could plug, universal health care or some kind of like accessible healthcare plug here, guys. We should figure something out. I think personally that the issue really starts with the guidance counselors more than anything else. Well, it starts with problems at home, but because listen, I'm going to be real with you. This is a moment I regret, but my guidance counselor was fucking worthless. Okay. We had a guidance counselor. Let me explain something to you. I was a big guy. I am a big guy. I remember being in school when I was in high school, and I walked up to a table that I normally sit at a cafeteria, and there was other people there, okay? And so I said to them, I said, you better move or I'm going to kill you. And that's scary. Now, I didn't mean that, of course. It was like a joke to me. I was like, I'm going to scare them. It's funny, right? But to them, that was horrifying, and they rightfully reported me to the guidance counselor. And this motherfucker did nothing. He's like, you didn't mean it, right? I'm like, no, I didn't. He's like, okay, that's it. I should have got fucking suspended. They don't give a fuck. They don't do enough. Like, that behavior is unacceptable. And I'm a dumb fucking kid, and I think it's funny. But like, dude, you should have suspended me. You should have like sat down and explained to me that like, it doesn't matter what my intentions are if people don't understand them. Like, it's terrible. Like, the guidance counselors are worthless. They're fucking worthless dog shit. They don't do anything. Honestly. It's a shame. So,
and senior medical correspondent Elizabeth Cohen is with us. So I would imagine that health professionals do see this as a growing problem. I guess the question is there an answer to it? Are there the resources?
Right. The answer is going to be so tough, Erica. So we all know that when you are treating someone for a mental health issue, they need to have ongoing treatment. A visit to the emergency room is not enough. So these researchers looked at nearly 30,000 children who had a visit to the emergency room for a mental health issue. A lot of times it was depression. Sometimes it was a trauma-related mental.
They went to the ER for depression. It had to be worse than just depression. Unless, so this is like a weird too. Because like it sounds like such like a pedantic reason. What a weird word to go to the ER. Oh, I'm depressed. But there's two factors to this. One, either they're not like properly explaining what the depression is, right? And like maybe they're cutting themselves or self-harming, and that's more than depression, but they're labeling as that. It's also possible that there are a lot of kids that are going to the ER, the parents are taking them there because they have depression and they can't afford actual health care. So they go to the ER as basically a primary care physician because you can end up just skipping out on the bill, which passes on the rest of us, but it's because they can't afford it. Again, like another conversation about how we need some kind of universal health care because holy fuck. And then you go there, it's like, hey guys, you need a Tylenol while you're in here. Here, it's $30 for a Tylenol, bro. Fuck off, you know? It's a scam. We really need to be talking about this because these things can be prevented. We just need better like healthcare access. Oh, it's expensive. Okay, but you're giving more people jobs. How many more doctors can we employ? How many more mental health care service workers can we employ because of this? Like, I don't know. How many people won't kill themselves because they're fucking relentlessly bullied and harassed? How many people can get like the treatment that they need so that they can just live functionally? Okay, we looked at Mr. Beast, how he gave like 1,000 people. He did like a very basic like 10-minute surgery that recovers in like another 10 minutes or however long. And people just don't have access to it because it's expensive for no reason. Like truly, honestly, like why isn't that something like that's covered? Oh, these guys are like on welfare services because they can't work because they can't see because of a 20-minute procedure that heals in the same day. It's like, wow, like this is the state of our healthcare system. It's fucking embarrassing. We should be embarrassed. We shouldn't even like. Obviously, we need to talk about the conversation about affordability, despite the fact that we pay like the most per person out of like any fucking country, which is insane. Despite the fact we have shit healthcare, but like, why don't we talk about how embarrassing it is? We look pathetic. We look like fucking losers. It's fucking crazy.
Health
it's
disorder.
Fucking nuts.
And what they found was the follow-up did not go so well. What they found is that 7 days after, only about 31% in that week following the ER discharge, only 31% of them had some kind of a follow-up visit. And if you take a look at a month later, so in other words,
okay, that's still low. Hey, 50%. If they had to go to the ER for it, that should be higher. But I would imagine that like they might have given them like a month's worth of medication, so they'd have to follow up in 30 days.
Lots and lots of time to have a follow-up visit. Only 56% of them did. How in the world are we expecting to treat our children with mental health disorders? And we know that the number of children with mental health issues is rising all the time. How can we treat them if we can't get them care? So there are several issues going on. One is just poor access to care. There aren't enough people out there to treat the children, or the adults for that matter, who need help with mental health disorders. Also, this study found something really disturbing but not surprising. Black children had a much harder time getting that follow-up care. Erica, Jen?
Like probably a financial issue. Yeah.
Goodness, they need help.
You know, systemic racisms and stuff.
I feel like we cover stories like this nearly every day. Elizabeth Cohen, thanks for highlighting it for us.
All right. Well, damn. Tragic.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.